Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back, everyone, to the YouTube channel. My name is KJ, and today's video is my spoiler review for Season 2 of Marvel Television Studios' Daredevil Born Again, Episode 3 spoiler review for Season 2. So if you have not seen this show, please pause this. But before you go, could you hit the thumbs up button, aka the like button? Come back, let me know what you think in the comments below about Episode 3 of Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And what are your Marvel fan theories of where you think this can go? How is this connected to Avengers Doomsday? How is this even connected to Spider-Man Brand New Day? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned? Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off with Daredevil and Karen asking questions to the officer, claiming that he's trying to protect them. And obviously Daredevil can hear their heartbeat, so he knows if he's lying or telling the truth, but he is telling the truth. And again, this is the officer from Season 1 who was like, whoa, we crossed the line, we shouldn't be doing stuff like this. So he does give them a key card to get into the Red Hook, the prison facility that Mayor Fisk that be running and locking people up at. But what's interesting about this too is, you know, they've been hiding out at Punisher's little hideout, and when we get to like the scene where they're getting ready to watch the court, the between Jack Duquesne and you know, Dr. Glenn and the officer who's trying to prosecute him to life in prison over the vigilante law, right? I thought it was very interesting for some things because we're seeing Karen now think like Punisher. She even mentions, she kind of applauds what Bullseye's doing, and they kind of say it, and I believe, you know why I think they kind of just not glazed over it, but they mentioned Punisher, and that they're like, I wonder what he's up doing, what's he doing, but whatever it is, it's effective. And you know, Daredevil's like, hey, I'm not about killing, right? And obviously they probably couldn't really say too much in dialogue because they would spoil Spider-Man Brand New Day. And maybe the Sony was like, don't be saying something that's going to ruin our ticket sales in movies. So there's that. But it also shows like that Karen and Daredevil's relationship is going to start getting rough again. Now, they've broken up before, and there's a reason why they've broken up. And usually for his sake, going back to one of his exes doesn't really work out for him comic book historically. And so now we're seeing the relationship kind of strained, but they're trying their best they love each other for sure, but I think for Karen this is getting too much. And you know, in the Netflix series of Daredevil, she shot one of Kingpin's guys. So I mean, that's not helping out the case either. You know, that she's applying that Bullseye and Frank Castle are what they're doing is being more effective. Now again, they didn't say for Bullseye, yes, they were very particular to what he was referring to, but with Punisher, they kind of said a little bit, but not enough to make you guess what he's doing in the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie. So that was pretty neat, but I was like, oh man, I wish they did mention something, but maybe they just couldn't. Now, in the next scenes, we see pretty much Christian McDuff and Dr. Glenn talk about how she fixed and rigged his report of Jack Duquesne, and it's not right. And pretty much all the judges, the three judges in this, were all paid off and or blackmailed because one of the guys was like, "But, what's wrong with your face, Buttercup? Suck it up, Buttercup," type thing. And I was just like, okay. Even if like the scene where Kristen shows up to the facility, they made her wear like a mask, a glass, something to cover her eyes, basically. And Cole North is doing this and stuff, and he even threatening to mess them up if they'll, because they only get 15 minutes. So he was serious about the stuff. And then they couldn't really talk because they knew the place was bugged and tapped. And well, Jack knew, but I would hope Kristen would have figured it out because he wasn't really saying much, but he pretty much told her like he doubted it and he knew he was going to lose this because while everybody was watching this on live television, they found Jack Duquesne guilty. Shock, shock, right? And this is just showing the system is corrupt, and the villains are winning. Because if you notice at the dinner party, we see Heather Glenn and Buck Cashman talking, and Buck was pretty much just talking about explaining they purposely set everybody in a table spot because obviously Vanessa Fisk and Kingpin are the king and queens. We see the governor who was like, yo, you can't be doing this. Like, these power moves you're making, you're not talking to nobody above. But obviously they got some stuff on a lot of people and her. And when he was getting ready to make a toast, that lady in the office, she made the toast and it upset, right? Because he's trying to, and he was ready to stab her. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. But we see that because Buck Cashman is explaining to Heather that who's who, and he referred himself as the Knight, right? And it's like, okay. And I just thought that was interesting because they're referring to the board game chess, and this in politics is pretty much like chess. You have your pawns, and then you have your important pieces, and you want to protect your queen and obviously the king, and you want to make the right moves. You don't want to challenge something. And I just thought, okay, yeah. And this is, again, the villains are celebrating. I also like the small details in this dinner party scene because Kingpin's wearing an all-black suit. And this is him, in a way, here's the logic and the small detail to that is, this is in an artistic way that when he wears the all-black suit, he's more comfortable. He's more relaxed. He's more himself, right? He wears an all-white suit to the people during the day, but at night, he's wearing the black. And he's laughing at his victory because everything he planned out just worked. And so now the justice system is broken and they're winning. The bad guys are winning. Now, this is where the action starts picking up. As the villains, in the way, are celebrating, the good guys, the heroes, the good people, they're at the bar. Well, Kristen's at the bar and she's getting drunk. She's getting hammered. But she gets a message from Karen, who left a little note, and she doesn't know that this is Matt Murdock. She just like, oh my God, it's Daredevil. What's he doing in my office? And she's like, I'm drunk. Please don't bug me. I had a rough day. I don't want to be part of this BS. And he's like, you're a part of it. He didn't sound like Batman. I'm sorry. But it was pretty damn close to Batman's voice, in my opinion. That's just me. But I know he's trying to change his voice so Kristen doesn't recognize the Matt Murdock voice. Right? And I feel bad for her because she's so worried about her friend. Right? And, you know, Jerry was kind of like, you know, not making fun of Daredevil or Matt Murdock, but he's kind of like getting on, like, you should have told her, like, can I at least let her know you're safe? And in Matt Murdock's own way, he's like, nah, don't just let her think that. But, because he's trying to protect his identity, of course. And so he talks to her, and she explained and described what the Red Hook facility looked like and stuff, even though she had these goggles that kind of blocked her view. But she remembered hearing the wind or pigeons. You know, she felt the outside a little bit. And Daredevil kicked in and got there. And this is where the action kicked in, because Daredevil whooped everybody's ass in this thing. And we get to see, like, his version of the Spidey sense, which is just pretty much he can hear things we couldn't hear, because obviously he's blind, so his hearing senses are more up. He can hear more. And he knows there's two people in there, two guards. So he just kicks down the door and starts beating them up. I mean, and he did his little Daredevil signature moves and stuff. Like when they're on the ground, your arm's getting cracked or your leg. You know, not your neck, but your arm or legs are getting cracked once you're on the ground. And then he hears that crate that had the watch that he put in from episode 1. And he heard that, but he also heard where the prisoners were at. The innocent people who were locked up in a cage that looked like dog kennel cages. Like, I mean, damn, like, okay, Fisk, I see you. And again, if you remember that, the BB report, little, you know, cryptid messages videos, like, I was like, damn, like, how she, you know, they're showing the truth and just what it really looks like, but the people don't want to believe it yet. But now there's people who can testify, because he did break them all out, including Jack Duquesne, which my favorite scene is when a bunch of task force guards come in, and he doesn't have a sword, but Daredevil hands him some like lead pipe, lead steel type stuff, and they're open the cages with the key card, and Jack Duquesne, he's murdering people. Like when he throws those little pipes, they're going through you. Matt Murdock, Daredevil, he's just giving people concussions. So, but, you know, at this point, they're like, but the guards got told, like, hey, just shoot him. Just murder. And, you know, they fought, and it was action-packed. Like, this episode was short, but it had more fight scenes. And Daredevil's doing Daredevil stuff while we see Angela meet up with Karen. She's like, look, I got this and that and that. And then they steal a car, an armored vehicle of the task force of Kingpins. And they just go blazing, running, drive through. And they get all the people on there. And what's interesting is Karen shot one of the task force and they died. Like, she murdered somebody. Again, if you remember, she was starting to applaud Bullseye and Frank Castle. But we don't know what Frank Castle's doing. We don't know yet until the Spider-Man Brand New Day. But that he heard it. He heard it. Now, he's obviously, this is his red flag, no pun intended. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna ignore it. But this is I guarantee in episode 4 they're gonna talk about it. They're gonna have a huge argument because she just did a Punisher shot, like bang bang, right? And that was just nuts. And Angela, too, I like this part because she had her dad's, like, one of his weapons, like knives and stuff. And it felt like, okay, now we're getting closer and closer. Like, she's going to wear that suit. I can tell. So that was pretty cool in that scene. But at the end of this episode, they call Mayor Fisk, aka Kingpin, and he's like, "Well, okay, that's good. We can use that." And he said, "Get rid of him." He blows up everybody, and Daredevil has to hear it, and it's horrible. Like, can you imagine? It's loud, and then it's just dead silent. Like, oh my gosh, poor Daredevil, because they ran off. But that's how that episode ended. Is Kingpin? He got rid of he eliminated everybody, so they can't come back to him. But they're gonna spin this around and make it look like the vigilantes did that, because now Jack Dupree is now again a wanted man on loose, and he can't just walk around. He's got to hide. Like, I guarantee you, like, they're gonna send dogs on this guy. Like, he's an escaped prisoner, and they're gonna spun that, and they're gonna make him look like he blew everything up, and Daredevil helped, right? But he's gonna have to hide out somewhere. So there wasn't really a lot, but what this episode explained and showed was, in superhero terms, and more particular, the Marvel Cinematic Universe logical that they put in this. So let me compare this episode to the movie Captain America Winter Soldiers. When the justice system doesn't work in the way it should work, right? Captain America, Steve Rogers, he had to go against them, which would have been S.H.I.E.L.D. Like in S.H.I.E.L.D. had Hydra agents in there, right? And this is no different from what Mayor Fisk is doing. It's just not Hydra that we know of. But when the justice system fails, Captain America, Steve Rogers, had to go rogue. He went rogue for Bucky. And then in Captain America Civil War, he went rogue for Bucky again. Because of the fact that Wanda accidentally dropped a building on a lot of people, which, that's fair. But it wasn't like her fault. It is her fault, but it wasn't, if you really think about it. But Captain America was not signing no form. He was like, but what if they decided we don't get to go out, but we need to go out there, where they don't agree, when one party doesn't agree with the other party, right? Again, Daredevil doesn't agree with that court case with Jack Duquesne went down. He does not agree. He knew it was trash. He knew it was all set up, and it was a bunch of bullcocky. And so what'd he do? He went the vigilante way. He went the superhero route. He put on the Daredevil. Right? That's when Captain America did it. So this was very MCU phase 1, 2, and 3 at least. At least phase 1 and 2, to be fair. And that's fine. That's fine, because it's been a long time that it actually felt like the MCU, and it fits right. That type of story fits right with a Daredevil character. Street level characters, this type of storytelling, whether it's just one episode or like a whole season, this type of story works. And so you're seeing this when, if that doesn't go your way in Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's the logic of the superheroes. So whether you're Captain America, Spider-Man, Daredevil, or whoever, this is the type of story they should be doing. So I applaud this episode, and I applaud that Marvel went this route, and I'm glad we got a scene like at least one episode that felt like that. And honestly, it's been a long time since they showed a story like that since Avengers Endgame and stuff not Avengers Endgame, but the Captain America Civil War. Now, another thing too that I liked about this episode is that Karen is, again, I know I'm bringing this up too much, but this Karen shooting that police task officer is just another sign or a clue that their relationship's going to end. And like I said, I think the right answer is the relationship between Daredevil and Elektra. And I was nervous at first that they weren't completely going to go that route. And to me, going the long route in a show for this type of show is not the right answer. So I'm really hoping, and I am convinced we're going to get Elektra before the end of this season because of this small detail of Karen doing that. Right? And also too, I like that we saw Angela have her Avengers moment or superhero moment because she had the necklace, the white tiger necklace on, and that's her father's. And so that to me was very important. And again, if I don't see Miss Marvel or Kate Bishop recruiting this girl, they failed the whole point of having White Tiger. That's the route you need to take this character. So I'd be upset if they don't. Now, like I said in my last spoiler review, Mr. Charles did not show up in episode 3. Now, why is that? Well, one, the story this went in this episode wasn't necessary for Mr. Charles, but Mr. Charles showing up in episode 4 would make sense. Now, Mr. Charles is a guy that is going to be an antagonist to the Kingpin himself. So I think, like I said, Kingpin showed a little weakness in episode 2. Just the fact that it would have been actually a lot better if he just told the whole world that, hey, Matt Murdock is Daredevil. Run away, right? But he didn't do that. And Mr. Charles is going to notice that weakness. I'm not saying that he's going to find out that was a conversation and Kingpin never went. But he knows now that this ship that had items that Mr. Charles is working for is all blown up. So now, I believe next, it probably won't be a lot of action. I mean, there'll be some murder. Somebody's going to get murdered. Because I believe Bullseye is going to be in episode 4. But I think Mr. Charles is going to put Kingpin in his place. And I don't, because honestly, so far, Daredevil and Kingpin have not been in the same scene. They've been far away. So I guess Mr. Charles is the guy who's going to humble Kingpin just a little bit. So that's going to be very interesting. With that is, this has opened up the idea of what does Mr. Charles is going to do, or what's his orders going to be now because of this situation. Obviously, he's going to visit Kingpin because he's not going to visit Daredevil. Who knows? But I can't wait to see Mr. Charles show up. That's the one thing that this episode got me excited about, is to see that character again. So I'm hoping in that episode we see him. Another thing I do too I liked about this is it just felt I love the action. I love the fighting. You know, it doesn't seem too choreographic. It is, but it's not. And it looked natural. And I love they did this in all in one take with the way the camera was paneling and through. It just felt cool. And I love the music that was playing along with it. So definitely enjoyed it. So this episode, I'm giving it 1 out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10, baby. So I'm loving this season 2 so far. These 3 episodes are really good. Episode 1, 2, and 3 are so amazing. I'm enjoying season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, and I cannot wait to see the Punisher special and Spider-Man Brand New Day and how this all connects. So thank you guys so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment Official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.